Hello Tech Genius, I am Ravi. Have you ever imagined a place where learning is as dynamic as the technology shaping your world? Then here's a deal. With iMatix, you can make sure the learning is exciting, impactful right from the beginning. You have interactive sessions with expert-led courses. In the world of tech, from data science to cloud computing, it's not just about a session, it's about doing, building, learning by solving real problems. So let's get started. For this one, now you can share your screen. First, I will tell you how to do that. First, you get the same way the authorization code and get the access token. And before that, we'll create a postman where I'll show you how you do that. I have already one, just you can see that. I'll do the real. I'm just going to show you. For this token info here, I'll give this link to you. And then in authorization, we don't need a client here. In headers only, you will need to give authorization and bearer token because it's a bearer token and we give the access token value. And we will run it and we will receive these values, right? For this one, this information will be enough. Now you can try it. I'll give you this URL. You can share token info. Anything for this one. It's fine, you don't need to add. Make it north. Just go to authorize header. Make it north, that's fine. I'll go to the headers and make it the. I'll hear your authorization. I'll give you the details here. You can add this one. I'll give you the value. You can put the value, but we have to change the token after bearer, right? Right now you can put this bearer and the token I will give you. That's fine. One more thing, you added in a param. You need to add in the headers. This token info we don't need to add in a param, but it's not copying a copy to work on it. It's something we need to change the settings. Sean, I don't have access to changes. It's fine, you can write it, be it that's it. We'll have anyway. We have to get the new token. It's fine. Can add the bearer part, but wait. What do you need to add these values in a header? We didn't have that for another noting param. Just copy this one. You cut to this one here. Bear. Now do one thing, get the authorization code and get the access token. Like you were doing yesterday, right? Get the authorization code for any of your client. Can I take number 9? Any client which is present. We should give a code value here. We're done. 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 Can I give it to here? Yes, space. Yes, you need to give some space, right? Go to param once. Go to param once param folder. Can you remove this? Delete that's fine. And then I click consent, click consent. 9 wait a second authorization. You need to add auths to go above in your URL. You need to add auths to /token in through after Rajiv. In Postman. No, not here in Postman. After Rajiv, you need to add the auths to. See my, oh yes, yes, correct, sorry. O caps are small. I guess you need to get the token again, authorization code and the access token again. Now you need to just copy the URL again. Go to your refresh token. Did you get is a post URL, get URL, right? This is a get URL auth to token info. Go to the, did you get the, this is a code or this is a access token. Show me your code, authorization code, response step code. Get the code again, get the code value again. You copied directly. Now we need to get the access token first. Get authorization code, fine. Then your authorization code. Copy the authorization code. This is authorization code. We need to first get the access token. First we'll receive the token and then we will check the token. Go back to Postman and go to the refresh token, access request, access request, access request request. Here put the code in a pattern here in 4. In second line pair of here you are, that's here. I guess is you are using same client which you are getting the authorization code. The author of the client should be same. Which client you are using? Should check the client first. Using the auth client, can you check the client in your Postman for refresh token in authorization format? In authorization. Here only in authorization. You have to click the authorization after param. There's an authorization bar, right? Authorization, this one. Change your client here. This username refresh client, right? The client should be same, right? You're getting the no, why you are not getting. The username is, you are using refresh client and you're getting the authorization code from the different clients. The client should be same, right? You have to change that client name over here. In username, instead of refresh client, you need to add that client where you are getting the authorization code. Can I change the username? I can, please, yes. I don't know. What is that username? You know that now the client ID, I go back to the URL, go to the URL notepad. Tell me which is the client ID we will use. OAuth client ID, right? This one we will use. Because why we are getting error? Because here we are getting authorization code from both client, but there we have set up with other client. ID, right? It should be same. The authorization code and we'll get the access token. Should client ID should be same as well, right? When we try to find the access token, copy that one. Can I take this one instead of that one? Line number 13, this is the refresh. You can do that one as well. Anything, the client ID should be same on both sides. That's it. I'm coming. I mean, it's but not that much good. It was good before. Now I'm here to bed. And then go to Postman. Now go to the param. Same then here you, only you need to go to param. No, access request. Access request, go to param. Param, and then you would do is the code. Send. Get the token. Copy the access token value with the underscore. Full copy it. Now go to token info. Token info, here the fourth request. We just create it. Change the here after beer, change this one here. Yes, space is there, right? Click on send. Now see you get the value. It will give the access token, right? Go back. Client ID give you detail, right? It give which RAM it is. Authorization level 0, it give the scope. It is called scroll down. Authorization grant ID expires, scroll up. It gives the order token information, which client authenticator, which client referred to the token, right? This is a token information. Now in the same way, there's one more way to get the token to get more token. Information is introspect, right? For introspect, I'll give you the claim. We have to do same thing. We just need to use the different endpoint. Create one more. This is information about just token information, right? This is about the token information. Which client using this token, from which client authenticate for to get this token, which grant type has been used to fetch these tokens. all those information right. There's one more way to check that. This was the legacy endpoint. Legacy endpoint means the old endpoint that they have been using from their old versions, right? In newer version, they have introduced a new endpoints with more advanced details like, and for that we can use this endpoint to just sharing. This is a real Marut introspect. Create one more request. The script, I'll just get a water. What does that mean? Introspect means to check the value of the token they have created, the endpoint, this one. It's just a second, I'm just giving the name. Is for this one, we need to have just checking the call command for this one. Basically, introspect here is saying you have to get the introspection of the token right. Or you can inspect the token, obviously the values. I guess that's why they named it introspection or token introspection. Here, this will be the post request and we give that token is equal to access token. If I give you your own, you need to have first create the authorization. Here you need to get the authorization in a basic code. Can you do the authorization for your client? Refresh client. Authorization code, right? Now, before that can you do the over the go to the postman? The postman first. Go to the postman and get the first, make it post. But copy paste is not working, Pranay. I'm not sure I have it. Back to the team. I'm not able to give you access to copy paste. I don't know I guess they have logged in internally somehow. That's fine. Now I can go to the authorization. Authorization. I'll go make it basic auth and then add the, that's it, and now go to the body. And I guess I can then, I guess now here you can see that, right? In a double bracket, and then we can click on the row. Click the row. Click on row, this one. Here in one, you just click double braces, close and enter. And in between just a double quotes token. And then you need to give that token. It's fine, I will copy the token value. No need to worry about it. Now fetch the authorization code and get the access token like you were doing before. dbzebo jeswazikwali omammuku espinanai, that's it. And I need to copy it. I'm saying you need to get the authorization code from a URL and get the access token from the refresh client. Can I add? No, you need to go to the header body and change this token value. View right. Oh shit, I missed. That's what I'm saying. We have to copy on you. This one you copied from. Did you get the access token right, or this is code? Correct. This is my access token. This one, this is authorization, and we need to get the access token. Go to the access token first. Access token. First collection. Yes, we get the access token. How do you get the access token from here? Right, that is authorization code you're quoting. Here, change the code. Get the access token. Copy the access token. And now go to the introspect. And we'll change the value here. Send it. See here, you will get more details, right, which from user ID username token type expired is sub potential level from there, which ISS is right. See the token info also has details, but it has limited details. Now these are all also details, right? What is the difference between token and font? Introspect. So, what is the difference between token and font in private respect? Basically, the token info is a legacy endpoint, old endpoint that giving us the limited information on like few details only about the token, right? But this introspection is endpoint is like used to basically use for token introspection, right, where we can check the token, verify it's the token, right, and it provide more details in like then the token info, the additional metadata details regarding the token. If you go to the token info and if you see this here, around like 15 parameters are present. And if you go to the token info, click the token info, see only I guess a few parameters. There's a difference. If you see very difference about the parameters, right? Yes, it's correct. Here user details, also pitching on from which user ID authenticate, which client ID authenticate, right? That's all those, that's a different. Basically for a token, info is an old endpoint which have limited details. Now this one is having for more details to deep dive in the check, right? This is how we can check the verify the tokens, check the tokens and all. If somebody asks you how you will verify the tokens, you can say like where we are, introspect endpoint, I can verify the token. Thank you. Now next we need to discuss now how we can customize that token, right? Customize the values in token. Let me share my chat screen. Can I stop? Here, if you see in customize a band, basically we can customize this our access token, right? Means with the key value pair, because if we have this access token, if you see all this access token, right, these are all in unkey value pair, right? These are the unvalue pair. We can add our own details inside this token, right? Like for example, we need to make a REST call for any external service, like to add or change the key value pair in the access token on the response, like before issuing those tokens to the resource server, right? If we resource on that to resource and we need to add more details for verification or any requirement we have, how do we do that, right? For that we can customize it. Here we have the scripts. If you go to that realm, I will name scripts and this click or to token modification scripts. If I go to this one and then I go to the scripts, then I go to the token. Here I have already, they have given us the script. We can use that or to access token modifications, right? This is on a JavaScript and Google. You can use any version. Here this is here. If you see here we have the set field. All this currently is commented. I will uncomment it and I'll put some field over here. I have already written the steps, like we will uncomment it. And then additional data will be added into the access token response, right? Let me add this one. I'll just give you more information on this one before testing it. Basically this one, like we can modify for to where client server and side access tokens are anywhere, right? And this will be stored for in this tokens permanently. I think we don't remove it, right? We need to make sure whatever we are adding, if we have to remove it in later stages, then we need to change our this code as well, right? Now for to modify the access tokens. we have to use this access modification script. Now where it is using, this one field is such a list. This is currently uncommented. We need to uncomment it. It is currently commented. You see, if I, as soon as I commented, it showed me the value right. I can now hear it's a hello world. I can do anything. Instead of this one, I can do like new employee. Right? New employee can do that in contractor. I'm thinking about some details about contractor, anything, right? Here I have added right. And I have the access token set field. This one. I have added this attribute where it's a set to include in token. I have added this one. Then if I have updated this access at additional details, I had to visual test for one model. Let's test with one right and I'll validate it. What this validate do? If you have any error in your code right, it will give you an error. Otherwise it will save as possible. Now it's validated because it's a validation means like it will compile your code and see if there is any error. Then no error in your compilation, then it's fine. I suppose if I give this, is it complete Java code only, right? This is Groovy is a Java code. That's what it looks like, HTTP. Groovy basically is totally is a Java code. Like it's people say that different programming language, but it's actually a subset of a Java programming language. Basically using every class from Java and everything it's almost same. There's the little bit changes about the like syntaxes, but additionally everything is same. Even there's some also syntax that also, if you work on a Groovy, if you have worked on a Java, right, you can easily work on a Groovy. Even you don't need to learn the Groovy. You can take the networking, you just need to install the Groovy software and you can rotate the Java code over there. That's it. Even this one, here you don't need to install any idea and anything. You can directly work on the script inside the forager, right? Like suppose now I have a remove the bracket. Now if I validate it, it should give me the error because if you compile it, see it's giving matter. You have the unexpected output. This validation will compile your code, right? And if I add it again and then I validate it again, then it can get you no error form. In this under changes, I need to save it. If I go from little bit about the access option, the subscript, the script type is for access to a communication language. I've chooses Groovy, right? And here this is access token to be updated. They have give all the details, always present scopes, logarithm, they're present. You can read about these, right? That they have the access token set field where they fetch the response from this third party, right? And the successful, this is a code they've already written from where they have to. If we have an error, then it will. I mean, if this works successful, response status is fine, then it will update the fields, right? And then if not, then they will give us this error, unable to obtain access token modification like normal code works, right? Then it will try catch, it will go into the catch and it will give the error. And we are adding these new attribute fields for this one like mail and phone number. If user had using it in the scope, then and the remote token in my new fields and say saved in these and everything. Now let me test it. For test me how I can test it, it's the same. Testing is basically what we are doing. We just need to hit the access token endpoint. We have to use this excellent token, right? I will get the authorization code. I'm using this my client, right? Let me get my client code. Then now we'll find the date, country. Initially I said it's from that. That's not the level. I saved it right. Set field access token and expand script. I have done this one. Set have to. Just a second. I guess I've done one mistake. I need to add this one, add extra data. I guess and add extra data. Get it? I need to add that and then fades away. The second gets better. Basically, I miss one point to tell we need to add this extra method. We need to add extra data. This is a method that access token will add any more values. Let me add it and copy these values. Here also deploy contractor. And we added it. No headband. Save the changes now. We will batch it again. See, I'm able to get the new details. I'm able to customize my access token with new details. Earlier it was only access token, refresh token, and scope token type expires. Now I'm able to add new values. Right. This is how you can customize your token values over here. What I did, I'll just explain to you again. Here in modification script, I went to the script and I want to go to the modification script. The name suggests that same thing. Here, I have updated this value set field, and I added this add extra data. New employee and a contractor. This add extra data would add the more token value over here. Let me see. Well, we can try more values also, or it's going to be good. Let's see if add new employee. Can we add one more field also, right? I'm just testing. New employee internal. I guess it will take only the latest one. Only one. Which one is taking now? Taking these new values. If you see, I have added this one new employee internal. Now it's taking only this internal. It will not take this one. Disregarding this one. Whatever the add extra value we are putting, it will only take one. Here I guess it's limited. That must use it before I add extra data. Can we have more? Set field. Now I need to set field. Well, do I have a token? Validate, save changes. I guess let me change maybe it will go to key sync. Let's check. Can we set field? Let me try one more time. See, because we are using the same key, right? That's why it was not taking. We need to should have the unique key value pair. That's why, because if you have the same key, that's the value is actually replacing to that key. That's why we are not having the multiple key values. Now you see, I have updated the one twice here. I have added to one more, right? To change the key, the unique key value pair it's taking. That's fine. That makes sense. But if I use the same key, then it will take the latest value inside that key, right? That's how I guess this hash map and all these works, right? If we go deeper into that voting stuff. That's how I can update my access token like this. This is a way to update your access token. Customization was taken. Just a second. This is how we can customize the old token, right? Any question on this part? This is how you can customize your token. Here, I guess this one completes our oath too. Now, we have discussed over here a lot of things, right? We can again go through these steps. For this oath flow, we discussed this authorization oath flows. What are the key components, right? Resource owner client authorization server. I think it's correct. Authorization server grant flow, right? What are we using, right? How can I get the authorization code from the browser that we have practiced? And how we fetch the access token from the authorization code, and what is the bearer token, right? The token type is for access token, and all right. We have discussed implicit grant. We have discussed client credential grant. We have discussed device authorization grant. Then we have discussed about the refresh tokens, how we can refresh our access tokens. Then we have discussed our macrons tokens, right? And we see how we can revoke the token if we need to revoke it, right? Then how we can get the token information, how we can verify the token information in respect. And finally, the customization. We discussed all these important topics regarding the oaths too. That mostly sums up the oaths too. This is one way. Now, after that, we need to continue our discussion on this OpenID Connect. Today, I'll give you some little introduction on the OpenID. And then, I guess, from tomorrow, we'll do some test about it. How we can test the OIDC stuff. OpenID is OIDC is a simple, it's a full form, is OpenID Connect. Right, that's OI. And it's actually the part of the oaths too. Like its OIDC is a built identity layer. Like it's a layer built on top of the oaths too, right? Then comes the oaths too. Then OIDC put on the top of it. What it does, it lets the client verify the identity of the user. Where in oaths 2 we are verifying the getting the token and verifying the token right. But what OIDC do where it's make the client to verify the identity of a user based on authentication performed by oaths 2 authorization server, right? It also lets client obtain profile information, like if the client will get the access token, but with that, with OIDC stuff, client will get the user details as well. It will basically verify the user details as well, right? That's why its OIDC is called. Here the oaths 2 authentication server, like that, right, implements the OpenID Connect, right, which is OpenID we call the provider. Here the ForgeRock, here how the ForgeRock AM is act as an OpenID provider. What is this OpenID provider? Like we are the oaths 2 authentication server, right? Whatever the oaths 2 authentication server that implements the OpenID Connect. Any author like ForgeRock is the oaths 2 and we are using the OIDC as well. ForgeRock is an authentication server as well. And ForgeRock can implement the OIDC functionalities as well, right? When oaths 2 authentication server that will implement the OIDC is referred to as OpenID provider. We call it it's an OpenID provider, right? Which any server which implement the OpenID functionality will call the OpenID provider, right? Any oaths 2 client that uses OIDC, like we have, suppose we have created many clients, right? Currently we are using that client to fetch the access token and everything, authenticate the user and get the access token, right? Then here also, then this client that uses the OIDC, if it uses the OIDC feature, is called the relying part, right? ForgeRock AM would be called as an OpenID provider because it had the authorization server, and in the top of that it implements the OpenID Connect, right? Where this oaths 2 client will use the OIDC. And if any client that uses the OIDC to test the flow will be called the relying part. Then whatever. AM here for when you test it, right? When finally we test it, what it will return in oaths 2, it will return the tokens and access token, refresh token. Here it returns the ID token. I showed you one, the big one, EY, starting on that, the big token, it shows we tested with once with ID-token, right? That is the ID token kind of returns. It returns the ID token to the relying parties, like whoever the client is authenticated. Because OIDC extends the oaths 2, When AM is configured, it can return the access and refresh tokens to the relying. We are using oaths too as well. With the ID token, it can return the access token, refresh token. It can return both 3 tokens with them. And here we can getting only access token, refresh token. Now, if the same client will use the OIDC flow, then he should get the ID token as. Then that will verify the open ID connect. How much PB? You are in line 56 or 57. I'm currently in 56. I'll go to the 59. I was just telling you what the definition of the OIDC, how the OS2 is connected with the OIDC. Here if we show you, that was what I was telling you. OIDC is identity layer built on a top of OS2. If somebody asks you what is OIDC, right? You know the OpenID Connect, that's fine. But how do you define it? You will say the OIDC is the identity layer is built on a top of OS2. It lets the client verify identity of a user, right? Identity of the user based on authentication performed by oath to authorizer, and let the client also get the profile information about the use, right? If you see this diagram, if I follow this diagram, tomorrow I'll create this diagram and show you as well. But here if you see, this one is normal. Here is the relying part. This is who is the relying part of your client. The client we are creating in a ForgeRock, right? My client, your refresh client, right? And currently that client we have used only for Auth2 services. Now if we use that client for OIDC as well, then that client will become a relying part. And the end user. If I give you here the end user in OFS2, it was a resource owner, right? And here relying party we say, but in OFS2 it was a client, right? Here we say OpenID provider, but in OFS2 it was the authorization server and the resource server. If I show you this diagram, right? If I show you this diagram, and this diagram is a resource owner, right? Instead of resource owner in this flow, there will be the end user. I'll just do one thing. I'll make it 51, right? I'll do it and make it at the end. In order to make it above as well, just for understanding. Here, if you see, we have a resource owner, right? What are these code? Which is basically, these code are the key components. You can see the key actors, right? In any of the oaths floor OIDC, here we have the resource owner. Here in OIDC it will be the end user, right? Who contains the owner of the information. Here we have the client, right? Which client we are creating a refresh client to my client right here. We call the client in oaths flow. In OIDC we call it the relying party because it uses that to verify the user also with the oaths flow. We'll call it relying party. In oaths flow we have this authorization server and resource server, right? But now in OIDC we have one OpenID provider, right? Which act as both. Here EN can act as an OpenID provider to authenticate end users and provide the resource. This one will act as an author provider and it will provide as a protected resources as well. Like here we have authorization server line. We get the access to open, then it get the protected service, right? Here that this both work will be the board done by the OpenID provider. These are the key components. What are the differences? First differences are these actor differences. If you see, we had in OAuth flow, we are using resource owner client authorization server resource server. But in OIDC, we have the end user, which is actor, the same as the resource owner, which have the owner of the information right, which have all the details that relying party which trying to authenticate that user right as a client. And then we have OpenID provider, which help us to authenticate our client to get the everything right, to provide the ID token and everything. How does that work? Here relying party first send the authenticate request to the end user right. Then for authentication, the end user will directly send the request to the OpenID provider right. Then this OpenID provider send the authentication and authorization request to the client, the end user. OpenID provider directly work with the end user right. And then this end user authenticates and authorizes the operation is done. Once this part is done, it returns the ID token. Usually they hook on the access tokenizer, but it returns the ID token. And then when relying party will receive the ID token, first from end user to OpenID provider, the request would be sent right. And then this ID token, we will see the ID token. Then relying party receive the ID token when OpenID provider fetch the ID token right. After authenticated, give the relying party to use the ID token, when then this requests the user of the user info endpoint. Now then relying party will send this ID token the Azure OpenID provider and ask them to fetch the user info details, right? Give the access token or ID token to the OpenID provider. Ask them like give me the user details. Now like I have the ID token that have been authenticated by the user right. And that part now I want the user details as well. It will ask the user details, then OpenID will respond with the claims about the end user. Whatever the details we mentioned right, which we can set, it doesn't matter, like it will provide user could be having that any detail like 10 attributes have their username, its address, its personal phone number, its mobile number, its personal address, its office address right. Cities, lives in a city in country, depends upon which we have set up in the claims. Whatever those set up in the claim, those information will be provided to the relying party and he will able to authenticate the get the user details. That's the OIDC flow. Here it was. This is how the OIDs flow. What's the purpose of OIDC? Where OIDC user a way to authorize a service to access and subject their data right. Where OIDC is a user's way to authenticate the service by providing their subset of their data in their resource. Tokens, I told you, we have in OIDC, we have the access and refresh tokens in OIDC. We have the ID tokens right. OIDC basically most cases using into the social media credential, like if you sometimes you use from a Facebook to log into the any application, right? They give you access, either you can create a username password register with the username password and your Gmail ID. Either you can create your account with the Facebook, right? Facebook or LinkedIn, right? Then what will do the Facebook? And then they will use the social, this credential into third party. Because this Facebook has your user details and everything right. They are the any other third party application can ask the Facebook to get those user in real user information. Right, he will provide you because you are already authenticated with the Facebook, right? You are already authenticated user, right? Other application can trust the Facebook to get your user details. If you provide the details right here and user, you write, this is you and this is some other application and relying parties. OpenApp provider is like a Facebook, right? And relying party is somebody, any other third party application like any photo service application or suppose Instagram, right? Once you are able to log into Instagram first time, right? You are the new user on the Instagram, right? But you are already a Facebook. You are already user of Facebook, one, right? Here Facebook can act as open ID provider for that. You send a request, right? You say you go to the Instagram, then you send a request, go to the Instagram, right? Then it will send authentication request to you, right? For login, right? Then it will here, you will see put like you can authenticate via the Facebook, right? You can send as you can click on the Facebook portal to create your account, right? Because it will send for the Facebook for authentication. If you have logged in the Facebook, then fine, it will proceed. If not, it will ask you to log in, right? Once it's logged in and authorization, it wants to authenticate it, then it will issue the ID token. Then it's going to issue the ID token to the Instagram over here. Then Instagram will definitely talk to the Facebook, right? Then it can ask the user in for details and then it will fetch the details and make you the login to the Instagram. Create a new account on your Instagram. That's how this OIDC concept, right? Most common scenario, for example, if somebody asks you how, give me some example where you use the OIDC or where we are currently. You can say like social media credentials, like we can use to log into a third-party service provider, right? Where this ODC can be the use case is generally having been marked. And how these claims are returned, user details are returned. We see this user info details, user info endpoint, right? With the help of this endpoint, these additional attributes, or we in terms of post job say the additional claims can be requested, right? To fetch those details, we will run tomorrow, we'll create a client, and then we will try to fetch this user info endpoint over there, and we will see the details how we'll do this. Tomorrow, I guess we will do a test on this OIDC flow. OIC flow we will test. This is, and then we'll discuss again this hybrid grant as well. We have some ID token information, user information, we will see. Few endpoints also will have discussed. I guess a couple of days we will discuss about the OIDC one. Just go to the say for tomorrow, just check this OIDC to go to the OIDC again because OIDC will be required to understand OIDC, right? You can see the difference over there in between, basically same, but just now we have the OIDC over here. It's just changing the little bit structure that, but mostly the flow is same, just in OIDC flow. That's a different, and that's you can see. And when I give you the interview questions, I'll give you the list of the difference between OIDC and OAuth 2. And as well, you can also refer that, as I'll give you the by end of this week, I guess with the release notes, I guess with this PPT, I'll give you the interview questions as well. You can prepare well, but I've also included a lot of information in this PPT already, right? But in the other one, I will enter a question. I'll give the question and answer beforehand on that. You can enter, but this PPT also can help you to learn or to prepare for your interview as well. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.